Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. So colleagues, I hate to cut us off, but I do want to be respectful of public comments. So again, our sincere thanks to all three of you for coming and sharing your stories, and keep up your great work. You're doing the Lord's work.
Senator Mitchell.
Senator Mitchell.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Chair. I'm presiding officer today, so I'm going to have to.
Sure, I understand.
I just wanted to say very quickly, as folks are lining up, that as I listened to Dr. Pan's question of the department about whether or not the department or the administration has a kind of vision or a policy framework for early care and education, and it occurred to me based on my 5 years as a legislator, and I thought about every budget cycle, the different strategies that come before us in the budget process. My sense is they do not. Nothing like LCFF that laid out the administration's vision around K through 12, funding and practice. And so, as we were having some sidebar conversations, perhaps that's something the legislature needs to think about. Out of the context of the budget, whether it's a special committee, over the years, the legislature has done, major work groups around workers' comp reorg, but for us to step into the driver's seat and initiate the conversation about establishing a policy goal and vision. When Dr. Pan asked the question about, is it slots, is it funding, which drives, those kinds of fundamental policy discussions, I think we need to establish, again, outside of the context of the budget, that helps drive our decisions around early care and education for the state of California.
As always, well stated. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Could I just say, too, since we're going to have to leave in a few minutes, I would be very helped if speakers would talk simply about their response to the administration's proposal and what particular things they might suggest to make it even better.
Thank you, Senator Hancock. So as we begin public comment, you're going to see members leaving not because they're not interested, but because we need to be on the floor at 12 o'clock. So I may be the last one here, which is understandable. But if everyone were to take just a minute, we'll still not get done by 12 o'clock. So I'm going to let you know if you've gone anywhere near a minute or over. So don't think me rude. I'm just trying to be respectful of the people at the end of the line. So please begin.
Arlene Holden with Easter Seal. We have Department of Ed contracts in 4 counties in Southern California. And I appreciate the hearing. I appreciate the focus and the ongoing debate that's going to be going around this. My concerns will be around the Department of Ed's oversight and what standards are. I actually appreciate the Department of Ed's oversight. I think there's a whole infrastructure in there on checks and balances, so I don't know how that gets replicated out there should you have the block grant funding. I'm concerned about the cells, because if we don't increase capacity on having the centralized eligibility list, families don't want to go there to get on the list if they're going to be on the list for 2 years, 5 years, or the kids are going to age out. So they kind of go hand in hand. We had that same issue before when we were better funded, so I'm not sure I get the logical connection there. Anyway, looking forward to the ongoing debate. Appreciate your time.
I thank you for your brevity. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Senator Leno and committee members. My name is Monica Walters. I'm the CEO of WUI Children's Services in San Francisco and co-chair of the California Coalition for Equity in Early Care and Education, coalition of more than 100 nonprofit early care and education agencies, primarily Title V throughout the state of California. We know that it's estimated the SRR funds only about 1/2 of the operating costs of child development programs in counties with a higher cost of living, such as those in Bay Area, Southern California, and that we've already discussed about the minimum wage impacts on increasing that gap. To dismantle, first of all, that's not sustainable for us nor for any of the coalition's agencies, most of whom dedicated 40, 50 years to commit to quality education. To dismantle the foundation of quality early learning in California is not the answer. We applaud the proposal put forward by Senator Hannah Beth Jackson and the Women's Caucus, which calls for the priority investment in the ECE system. We ask that this body addresses the funding shortages in our child development programs by increasing the SRR with investments that will sustain and build on the existing quality of care.
Ms. Walters, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to interrupt you. Thank you, and my best to you.
Hi, my name is Liz Burns. I'm here today representing Community Action Marin. We operate a mixed delivery system of state contracted child development programs, family daycare homes, and Head Start programs. Today, I'm here to talk about the crisis that my agency is facing in providing state-funded early education programs. Marin County has the biggest gap in the state between the state reimbursement rate and the actual cost of care. As a result, our annual shortfall for providing services to 688 children is $500,000. This year, it will be $600,000, a deficit that has doubled in the last 5 years. If we do not get some relief from the state, we're looking at potential closure in 12 months. This would be devastating to the 688 families, as well as to Community Action Marin, which is the biggest nonprofit in Marin County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burns.
Hello, Terry Burns on behalf of California School Boards Association with my colleague from First Five California to remind you of a letter that was sent to you signed by CSBA and a number of other folks from education labor, education management, child care providers, children's advocates, where we're going to differ in a lot of ways as this proposal rolls out. We come together as stakeholders on a number of key principles. The first of which is that Senator Mitchell so eloquently stated, that this is a very complex subject that's going to take more than 4 weeks that come from the May revise to your time for a budget to really develop, go through, and work out. Local control funding formula took 2 years. So we encourage you to take the time for that deep policy discussion. We agree that more resources are needed in the system to build capacity and to serve all those children that are in need of services.
Ms. Burns, that may be a good point to end on. Thank you
Karen
very
Gable,
much.
on behalf of First Five California, just to reiterate the last 3 principles, which is please do not undo transitional kindergarten and the important stable funding stream it provides, that the system goal should be very clear and designed around making sure the great number of kids in need are getting the services that they deserve, the quality they deserve, and finally to simplify administrative complexity, to look at how to best align our mixed delivery system to best serve all children and parents in the system, and to include program design requirements.
Thank you, Ms. Gable. Always succinct. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jacob V. Hill with KinderCare Education. We're the largest single provider of early childhood care and services in the state, serving over 20,000 children statewide. I just want to make 2 main points. We strongly believe that California's investments in early care and education should leverage the current mixed delivery model that promotes parent choice among an array of high-quality options. We believe that model has the capacity to serve more children without a costly taxpayer investment in new public infrastructure, and it provides optimal choice for the needs of children and families. Secondly, we think it's really important that the public investments and systems should take into account the needs of the continuum of birth to age 5. The importance of infant and toddler programs should not be overlooked, with the attention on 4-year-olds and pre-K. K through 12 classrooms already face challenges with regard to capacity and infrastructure. It's not clear whether those districts are equipped to take on the additional classrooms for early childhood or have the qualified staff to provide age-appropriate care for birth to 5, as many community-based providers and private providers have long had in California, along with the accountability systems and safe environments. Thank you.
Right.
Good morning. Barrett Snyder on behalf of the San Francisco Unified School District, San Diego County Office of Education, and Santa Clara County Office of Education. I'll be really brief. Appreciate the governor's proposal. We have issues. TK and treatment of TK here is a big issue, I think, for me and a lot of folks. Better data would be a really good step, Senator Delano, to your point. We know 4-year-olds, we think there are about 35,000 just collectively, our ballpark, that we're working on. It's in a letter we reflected to you earlier. We think about 35,000 4-year-olds in the state that qualify for services and aren't getting them. On rates and slots briefly, in Santa Clara County, when we rolled out this latest budget augmentation, 18 of the 20 counties that do early learning didn't apply for the funds. They didn't do it because of one of 3 reasons. 1, it was insufficient. 2, they didn't have facilities, or 3, they couldn't find the qualified staff, and we think that's a real problem. So rates in high-cost areas, like the Bay Area, down south, big issue for you to tackle. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Mr. Snyder.
Deneen Micheletti, representing the California Alternative Payment Program Association. Our agencies are a mixed delivery system of community-based organizations that connect CalWORKs and working poor families to childcare. In keeping with your agenda, I have handouts of comments regarding the governor's proposal, but with your themes and principles that you wanted to talk on, I would like to ask that the committee look at what are we talking about. We're talking quality environments, but it's disconnected from the poverty that our families face. And what we have seen with transitional kindergartens, families that enter CalWORKs are not making the connection currently to the transitional kindergarten. So when we look at a block grant, I can tell you that the poorest of poor families are not going to be connected in a real way, and we're going to leave them further behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nicoletti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Jeff Vaca, representing the school districts and County Office of Education in Riverside County. I think Senator Mitchell and Senator Pan really hit on a key question at the hearing today, and that is, what is the policy goal behind the early education block grant proposal? If the goal is to overlay the concepts of the local control funding formula onto the early ed program, we believe that has a lot of merit. But at the same time, we think that, as the hearing today illustrated, there are a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of concerns that remain. As Senator Roth knows, we're going to be experiencing a lot of growth in Riverside County over the next decade, and without a stable and meaningful funding base that accommodates growth, are we really going to be able to achieve the goals, LCFF goals, give these kids a head start, give these children a head start, so that we can continue to close achievement gaps. And I will follow up with the committee and staff with comments in writing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Martha Alpers on behalf of the Association of California School Administrators. I think generally we are appreciative of the discussion that's being taking place about this proposal. Without having many details, it's hard to provide any input on what it looks like. We just want to ensure that we focus on quality and access. One question we have is about the legality of block granting at grade level. Currently, we don't say if you're in 3rd grade, if you're middle class, you don't get to go to 3rd grade. So we just have a question about that and the Prop 98 use of the funding. We want to use this opportunity to talk about improvements to the current system. We do believe it needs to be streamlined, it needs to be aligned to the K-12 system. So we just look forward to that conversation outside and inside of the budget process. Thank you.
Ms. Alvarez.
Good morning, Monique Ramos on behalf of the Early Learning and Care Coalition. First off, we would like to thank the governor for being willing to engage in this proposal and having a holistic conversation about our system, but we would agree with Senator Mitchell. We do not believe there's any way we can re-envision and rebuild our system before this budget needs to be done. We will follow up with our letter, but there are a few recommendations we believe can be done this year. First off, we believe there does need to be an increase to the RMR and the SRR. Any new system you build will require additional resources. And then in addition, we believe that there should be a longer-term planning process for these changes, much like the governor had proposed for the child care proposal for a 5-year plan out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos.
Good morning, Patty Herrera representing Early Edge California. We'd like to reiterate the comments and the gratitude for this rich and deep discussion. However, we think that that illustrates the need for a much more deliberative discussion outside of the budget conversation. For Early Edge California, quality, high quality programs is what we believe are key, in addition to the important issues of access and additional funding and investments that we need to make, particularly investing in our professional workforce that serves our youngest learners. Finally, we need to underscore that Early Edge California does not support any shift away from the longstanding entitlement for any 4-year-olds to be admitted into our K-12 public school system. We just can't support that. Anything that we re-envision for early care should not displace any child in our system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Herrera.
Khadija Alam Javed with the Advancement Project. Thank you so much for your thoughtful questioning today. I want to reiterate the points made by my colleagues at CSBA and First 5 California. We signed on to that letter. In addition to that, on a very personal note, my son is eligible for transitional kindergarten program, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So I just want to make sure, and there are about 40% of the families, according to the LAO, if the governor's proposal moves forward, would not be eligible for such entitlement, not including ETK. So we urge you to not to eliminate that program for us. I can't sleep at night because, you know, my son won't be eligible. So, so it's about all of our kids. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members, Michael Hulsizer on behalf of 47 school districts in Kern County. For the sake of time, we just want to underscore 2 points, excellent points made by the LAO earlier today. First, the governor is to be commended for trying to create a more coherent system at the local level for serving young children. But secondly, we, like the LAO, have some real concerns about locking in, basing, and capping funding for TK based on current existing services. There are many reasons at the local level while some districts have been able to implement a program much quicker, much more robust than others. And to cap that program today would be very inequitable. We have districts, because of a lack of space, a huge teacher shortage in the Central Valley, and the desire, the readiness of some parents over others to embrace TK, that are reasons why some districts have just not gotten ahead with the program. We're encouraged by the interest in TK. We think in the next 5 years, if we allow the existing program to flourish, it will grow tremendously.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name is Andrea Joseph with California Children's Academy. We are one of the Department of Education's non-LEA direct funded contracts. The Department of Education's Title V programs are quality, yet the SRR only funds about half of the cost to run those programs. Upcoming minimum wage increases, while we appreciate them, will increase our costs as well, and we would not be able to continue to run our programs without an increase to the SRR. Secondly, despite what you've heard, there's already been families pushed out of our program, out of qualifying for services because of the minimum wage increases. Usually they are two-parent families. My last point, voucherizing the entire system would shut down programs like ours. Our 15 centers, which serve over 675 families and children per day and employ over 193 staff, would need to shut down. And yet that's another unintended consequence. So please, thank you for hearing us today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph.
Good morning. My name is Laura Magnusdotter. I'm here on behalf of Sonoma County Child Care Council, 4Cs. We operate 11 Title V high-quality centers, soon to be 13 next year. We serve anywhere between 500 and 650 children, and most of our centers are on school campuses. And one of the biggest issues that we face and causes us to have to close our programs is the issue of facilities, or lack thereof. Infrastructure, I believe is what you called it. We have frequently lost classrooms and have to close centers on school campuses in low-income communities, which is the situation in the low-income communities, is the schools are highly impacted. Every time we have to close a center and we open a new one, we have to get it licensed, and that costs a lot of money because there are a lot of requirements, and that is not built into our contract whatsoever. In Sonoma County, the situation got so bad that we had to have an emergency fund, and we are in danger of losing our contract because we can't serve the children.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Alice Burton. I'm staff to the California Coalition for Equity in Early Care and Education, which was introduced to you before as being a coalition of 100 nonprofit Title V agencies in the high-cost areas of the state. The agencies in our coalition are all required to meet higher quality standards, and yet these are the very same programs that are struggling to survive on a very low rate that has been frozen. Our staff are predominantly women of color who in many cases their pay actually qualifies them to qualify for the same programs that they're providing themselves. We recognize that this is an informational hearing, but we just wanted to say at the appropriate time when budget deliberations commence, we will be introducing a budget request related to the SRR. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Ms. Burton.
Good morning, Pamela Gibbs, representing the Los Angeles County Office of Education, and that's my time. No, it's still morning. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We provide early childhood education services to about 11,000, between 11,000 and 13,000 students through early Head Start, state preschool, general child care development programs, and then, of course, we have delegate agencies that we work with, various other entities. In addition to providing the direct services to these children, we also have regional programs where we provide technical assistance and professional development throughout the county for other agencies that are implementing programs such as TK or other programs. We're interested in what this looks like overall as we continue to provide services to these children. Lastly, I'll say regarding QRIS, we're not sure what the system would look like going forward. There have been discussions about moving quality and accountability into LCAPS, and we're not sure what that would look like for private providers and community-based organizations. So we enjoy participating in this discussion. We want to continue to work with you. Thank you very much for hearing us on these items.
Thank you, Ms. Gibb.
Thank you very much for this hearing today. My name is Nina Boothie. I'm the Executive Director of the California Child Development Administrators Association that supports the subsidized child development programs across the state of California. I think from all of us here today and all of the great questions you all had, the early education field is of great passion and of great importance to those in California. As such, we do not believe that the governor's budget proposals rushing changes through over the next 6 months is very wise. And so as such, we do oppose those two proposals that the governor has. Rather, we think we can build upon the existing system that we have. We can look at some streamlining pieces. We can address the pieces about quality, address the pieces about minimum wage, and we can do that in the budget process for this year while looking at new proposals over the next years. The key areas we would hope to look at in the budget process this year would be the state median income levels, the rates for both the standard reimbursement rate and the regional market rate, as well as a mixed delivery system to ensure access to all families.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lisa Wilkin. I'm from the Child Development Consortium of Los Angeles. We run nationally accredited early childhood programs in Los Angeles County, and I'm a former school board member in the South Bay communities in LA County. The first thing I would like to say is that those of us who are early childhood professionals believe that 4-year-olds should be in programs that are run by early childhood professionals. Some school districts have that expertise, many do not, and we would just be concerned that the school districts are not necessarily the best place to park the money for pre-K. Also, the child care dollars, if you keep it steady, as the governor is proposing, will actually serve fewer children, and we're concerned about that. And most of our families in the center-based programs, I believe, are two-parent families, not single parents. I think the single parents are concentrated in the CalWORKs programs, which I think we need to look at those numbers separately to see the impact on the programs that you're going to be affecting.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkin.
Good afternoon, Elsa Jacobson with LAUP, and we are particularly concerned about the impact of the governor's proposal on the mixed delivery system. As I'm sure you understand, under the governor's proposal, all state preschool dollars will go to LEAs, and the CDE will no longer, under the proposal, offer state preschool contracts to private providers. Also, under the same proposal, these school districts, or LEAs, if that's where the money goes, would not be required to subcontract with the private providers. And we've already talked to multiple school districts who've expressed very little interest in subcontracting for a variety of reasons. So the upshot of all of this is that hundreds of high-functioning private providers could go out of business. We've submitted our feedback to the Department of Finance on this and other issues, and we'd be happy to share it with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobson.
Elizabeth Munguia on behalf of the California Association of School Business Officials. We represent over 3,000 business officials statewide. We just want to commend the administration for the opportunity to allow us to engage in these discussions, about stable funding. And although we are encouraged about the direction to align services with local needs, we believe the proposal warrants a policy discussion outside of the budget process in order to effectively evaluate and develop a cohesive infrastructure to better serve our students. We provided the committee with our position letter that details more about eligibility determination, access issues, governance and accountability, and staffing and facilities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, Kate Miller with Children Now, and I guess I'm last. Here we go. Just want to thank you for the time, and we're working with a number of our partners in responding to the block grant proposal, but really just want to commend you already on the outset for really recognizing the need for more funding, and that this conversation about restructuring can't happen in a vacuum and not without regard to the critical funding crisis that we're experiencing. And just want to encourage you to continue to be really proactive as you've been in years past, not just reactive to the governor's proposal, and address some of those critical opportunities, increasing rates, access, particularly for our infants and toddlers. We know there's a real need there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Miller. Thank you to everyone being so sensitive to our time limitations. Please consider today's hearing and all that you've heard the very beginning of what will be a very intense and condensed conversation with the administration and with all of the stakeholders. And I do believe that the administration is very intent in making this as inclusive a process as possible. So if a stakeholder's voice is not being heard, don't be shy to let this committee know that you need to have your voice heard through this process. We eagerly await from the administration more details of their plan, and we will see how far we get by June 15th, just 3.5 months from now. So again, thanks to everyone who participated, and thank you also for being cognizant of our time limitations today. We're off to the floor, and we are adjourned.